Now I've read this book. I've read it extensively. I've actually not finished it, but there is this particular thing that just popped out. When I first read the book, that in Nigeria we've got about 471 ethnic groups in Nigeria, all lumped together as one.
371 is actually the figure.
371.
And I'm grateful for those who did the hard work in putting the numbers together, because it was a publication that came out about a year before the book was published, that disclosed and detailed the numbers. Because in the past we always used to say more than 200, more than 250. How can we get to the promised land if we don't know how many of us there are? We don't know the population precisely. We estimate, guesstimates all the time. And similarly in terms of the number of languages, we didn't know. But now we know 371. And to turn 371 into one, to get that consensus, you can begin to see, you can begin to understand the nature of the problem. How do you mold those? And it's not just, of course, linguistic difficulties. Everybody has their own heroes. All those 371 ethnic groups have their own heroes. The hero of the Shekiri, your people, is not the heroes of my people, the Yoruba, or the heroes of my wife, the Igbos. And the Hausa will have their own heroes. The Ijaws will have their own heroes. How then do you sort of mix all that together in order to produce one? The only beneficiary from the chaos has been those who have really not got the interests of Nigerians at heart, starting first with the British colonial authorities, because they were batting for Britain, and then the leader managers that we've had, who have largely been batting for themselves or their own narrow communities, rather than the benefit of all Nigerians.
Now, if we look at it this way, that we've got about 371 different ethnic groups in Nigeria, and it's very difficult for us to be able to mold them as one. So how do we move forward then?
Well, first we acknowledge, before you can build properly, you've got to understand the foundation on which you're building on. Every builder knows that. Every farmer knows that you must clear the ground, make it clear, so you understand what you are planting into or what you're building upon. This book is the first step, is a critical first step towards understanding the foundation that we're walking on. Now, it is not an impossible exercise finding or putting together a constitutional arrangement that recognizes each and every one of those 371 ethnic groups. In fact, back in 2002, we did much of the work then. I was a key player in drafting an alternative constitution for Nigeria. But the key to it is to make sure that you have a constitutional arrangement that respects diversity, that doesn't pretend that we're one. All that nonsense of one Nigeria, it's all a calculated deception to confuse people. If we accept that there are many, many of us, and so therefore it needs a more sophisticated constitutional arrangement for us all to be comfortable, a constitutional arrangement that respects each and every one of us, in which each and every one of us, each of those 371 ethnic groups can look at that constitution and see their names inside it. Just as they can look at that book and see their names inside the book. In the next constitution, the constitution that takes us forward properly, each and every one of those 371 names must appear in the constitutional arrangement, so that they can say that constitution speaks to them as well. The idea of winner takes all, one Nigeria, it's what's led us to miss the promised land.